Yeah. Those are awesome.
Some people think it's really hard to find things to do in Nebraska. Other people just grab a livestock tank and head downstream. It's called tanking. Sound good? Welcome aboard, Nebraska. Honestly, it's not for everyone.
Come a-running, boys, don't you hear the noise? Like the thunder in the sky. How it rolls along in a good old song from the sons of Nebraska. Now it's coming near with a rising cheer that'll sweep all foes away. So with all our vim, we're about to win, and we're going to win today.
Stevens lying right on top of it. 3-2 for now. Brings in. Rebound opportunity and a score for Omaha.
They would set sail for the land. Then nothing or two with a chosen few would be around everywhere. And before they quit, they would calmly sit down behind that goalpost there. For Nebraska and the Scarlet, for Nebraska and the Cream, though they go through many battles, our colors still are seen. And so in contest and in victory, we will wave them for the team, and we'll always stir a cornhusker, the Scarlet and the Cream.
What's up, everybody? I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We are Two Average Guys. Good to have you back. Good to be back.
Nice new video too.
That was a nice little intro. Thanks, Brian. Very happy to be here. I got my UNO gear today. We're gonna talk a little bit about. He's got his Huskers.
Nebraska for sure.
We'll talk.
I have a little shirt.
He's got your bull shirt, very nice from the trenches. We got some good content to cover today. I think really we're going to start off talking a little bit about UNO hockey. Had a really good weekend, rough weekend last weekend, but had a really good weekend now. And actually, the previous series against North Dakota was pretty good as well. We'll talk about that. Going into the rest of the season, kind of what that looks like. But then we'll talk a little bit about basketball, which we know is a struggle to talk about sometimes, especially for two guys who are not huge basketball fans. But we'll chit chat about that a little bit, and then from there we'll go into a little bit of college football, kind of the Big Ten landscape right now because there's a lot of movement going on in the Big Ten. So it'll be interesting to see some thoughts there, and then we got a couple NFL games.
Yeah,
So
a couple games starting here pretty quick. So
absolutely. But before we do that, I want to give a big shout out again to our sponsors and Backswing Brewing. Thank you for the beer. I've got a bug eater going here. So we got nice little brewski going on Sunday afternoon. So hopefully, if you're enjoying your day, you want to get a little pregame action before we get the Chiefs and Ravens kicking off, then enjoy your beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on that note, before we get into hockey, we are going to be doing something with Backswing Brewing for Omaha Beer Week.
Okay.
So Omaha Beer Week is in like 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's mid February. I think it's the week after Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Maybe the week of. So we've been talking with TJ over Backswing. He wants us to get together, maybe some beer over something involved there. So we'll have more details to get it over your way as soon as we can. But looking forward to, again, getting more and more on-site presence at Backswing because great place to be. A lot of good beer, also a lot of good company. So if you haven't been there, get yourself over in Eagle Run to Backswing Brewing.
Yeah,
so,
I'm excited to see
thanks
what we
again.
got going on.
Thanks again, team over there. All right, UNO hockey. UNO hockey is been around for quite some time. They had a 25th anniversary a couple of years ago of being an official college hockey team. And they've had a lot of really good players. They've got a lot of guys that have either been in the NHL prospects. Right now, you have obviously Jake Gensel's the big name playing in the pros for the Penguins. He's been there for, I don't know, 7 years maybe now.
Right.
He's got a couple cups.
He was on the Frozen 14 for UNO.
Yeah. So and Gavinet's been there. He's coaching his. Struggle to kind of get over that hump. They lose games they shouldn't lose, but the last 3 series have been frustrating while also exciting and interesting at the same time.
So normally they, at least over the last handful of years that I can remember, they're usually pretty good or really good for like the start to middle of the season, and then they kind of drop off at the end of the season.
Yep.
And when it comes down to it, they don't get in that large because they lost too many games down the stretch, or they lose some bad games early in the year, and it hurts them when it comes down to it because it's a tough conference. You're going North Dakota, Denver, St. Cloud back weekends.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
That's probably one of those toughest stretches in college hockey.
And so
to play those 3 series, I mean, Denver and North Dakota
they're the top 3 teams in the conference.
4 and 5, and then St. Cloud's.
And 2 of those were on the road.
Yeah.
And they won 3 games on the road. Granted, 3 of them were 2 overtime and a shootout.
Here's the thing: with shootout and overtime, a win's a win. I don't think. I know that
I hate
college
the standings. I hate how they do the standings.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it's cool if you win a regulation. Well, you get a regulation win, it's 3 points.
Yeah.
That can really jump you. But if you look at the standings, UNO's in 7 out of 8, which sucks. But the gap is pretty significant because they're winning games. They've beaten everybody. They haven't played CC yet, or Miami. They haven't played CC or Miami.
No.
And CC did jump up to number 3, but Miami's constantly at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But they've beaten everybody. They won at Denver.
Yep.
They got swept at home, but they won at Denver. They beat St. Cloud 3 out of 4 times.
Yeah.
2 of them were shootouts, 1 of them in overtime. But they split with Western.
Yeah.
They split at North Dakota.
And that I think is what kind of sets them apart from some of the other teams in the conference is the amount of times they split. And I would love to see more sweeps. It'd be great. But again, in this conference, it is hard to do. Again, when you go to North Dakota, those fans are nuts. I can't stand North Dakota fans.
Okay.
But I love their passion because
It's like Husker football.
Yeah.
That's their thing.
It's passion, and that's what I have for UNO hockey. That's what we have for UNO hockey and Husker football. The passion is there. I just can't stand their fans. But they struggled last year. And we ended up going to North Dakota at the end of the season, and I think we maybe split or we lost both. I can't remember. The end of the we needed to win those games.
Well,
we did.
We hosted them.
Well, before we hosted
that.
them.
Okay.
We played on the road, and I think we had maybe one. It was CC and North Dakota, 2 teams we should have swept in our last 4 games of the season. And I think we have Miami in there too. And we only got like 3 or 4 of those games of the 6, but we didn't get even all those 3 points in each game. And then we host them at home, and we lose 2 or 3 at home. And that's the end of the season drought that UNO can't have, because right now they're playing some of their, I hate to say best hockey because there's times when it's like, oh my God, what just happened? But they're playing good hockey. They just need to get that full 60 minutes in. That is really going to push them to that next level.
Well, and watching
close.
2 weeks ago when they played North Dakota, when you watch on NCHC TV, you get the local,
Yep.
The home announcing, whatever. They were interviewing somebody in between periods, and it was a alum, North Dakota alum, and that's like, he kept saying, I like this Omaha team, man. They play hard, like they're taking it to us right now.
Yeah.
And I was not expected. I really wasn't. At the end of the first, at the end of the second, it was the same thing.
Yep.
I'm really impressed with this UNO club, and they've gone to overtime 10 times this year. That's what I was gonna say. 10 games they've gone to overtime.
They're also, if you count last night with the shootout, they're 11-1 in one goal games.
Oh dang, I didn't know that.
So 10-1 technically shootout, whatever.
Okay.
But that's good. Like that is fantastic. And I think you have to win those games. You got to get down and dirty. What UNO does really well and what sets this team apart against probably any other team I have watched for UNO over the years is they are probably the hardest working team. They struggle on defense. They don't have the best defense,
They have aggressive forecheck.
but they when they're aggressive and they play their game aggressively on the forecheck, especially they're gonna win games, and that's how they won both those games at St. Cloud. That's a hard place to go and win.
Going back to that, whoever that alum from North Dakota was, he was like, they finished their checks. He's like, they were showing a highlight, and he's like, man, they just finish every check. And then they're talking in between, in the in game, and they're like, North Dakota's not gonna hit anybody right here. Nope, didn't hit anybody, and then we scored or something. And they're like, yeah, you don't take the body, like UNO does. We can't do that. We can't score because we're not doing that. Something like that.
They have some very physical players with Sullivan. Mancini is huge. Proctor's a big guy. Badoli will get down and dirty. I mean, these guys, Lancel is the new guy. Ellis, I mean, these guys are not afraid to hit and put the body on a player. And again, much different than probably what we've seen. Last year, they did a little bit of that. They were pretty physical last year. But I feel like it's even gone up a notch with some of the new guys they got in.
Well, and then on the flip side of that, too, you have guys like Mueller and Randall that are veteran guys that are getting winning goals, overtime winners, shootout winners.
Well, the new addition of Zach Erdahl as well from Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's been killing it.
I mean,
he's been scoring every game.
He had 4 chances last night. He had 4 chances, almost like 3 of them were breakaways. And he made a great move. The goal is a freshman. His first time ever playing. First start. I don't term first time ever playing, but first start.
Right.
He played a fantastic game. And Erdahl tried to go 5-hole once. The other time he tried to go stick side. And I think
he went high on the shootout. Right?
Yeah. He went too high, went over. But again, a lot of great additions to the team this year. Almost a complete flip. Like the defense, they got Mancini and Proctor that are guys that have been around for a while. LeMay, who
we've done for
he's probably one of the worst defensemen on the team, but
defensively
he scored a sweet goal last night, and it got called back because of offsides. But St. Cloud also had a goal called back because of offsides too. So and neither team had an actual quality goal in the game, so it was actually just a hard-fought game. I thought St. Cloud had more chances, more shots. More shots doesn't always mean that you are looking like the better team. Right. And so you might not shoot a team by 12 shots, but were those actually good chances? And that's what you can have a shot from the blue line that the goalie just catches with his glove, no big deal. That's a shot.
Well, and when I'm watching, especially Avalanche games, I hate out shooting a team 2 to like 40 to 20. Yeah, when it's a close game, because you're like, you know that one is just going to slip in.
Yeah,
so many chances.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's not always. I mean, that to me means you're probably controlling the game more.
Yeah.
Like you said, you thought UNO controlled it more in the third. No, I like the fact that they've got a guy like Mueller that does he lead college hockey and face-off percentage?
Yeah, and he's
at least the conference.
He's a Hobie Baker finalist as well.
Yes.
And man, Ty Mueller, that kid, man, you meet these kids. I'm calling them kids because they're half my age, but you meet them in person, and it's like you don't look. Again, you can say that about football players too. Like, you don't look that athletic. You don't look like you'd be a really good athlete. And not that Ty Mueller doesn't, but there's certain guys you just see. It's like, man, you're about 170 pounds. Like, how are you getting guys that are bigger than you on your back and you're holding them off with one hand on the stick and the puck? It's like the physical part of the game and the strength in the game. And UNO does a really good job of not letting guys take the puck from them, and they're strong on the puck. They are good they're getting better in the corners. Again, it's an oval, so there's no corners, but you know what I mean. They're getting better in the corners. And again, last weekend I think was just a blip. Unfortunately, Denver was the much better.
It was just goals and waves both games. They seemed fairly close for a while, and then it was like, it was like they scored 2 or 3 goals back to back in a short period of time, and that just kind of deflates you.
Same thing in Saturday. They scored back to back goals in the second period. So, but really, I think last weekend there was a lot of penalties. So UNO is the most penalized team in the NCHC, which I think says a lot about how the game is called too. They got called for an elbow last night. Where
I did.
Did you see the replay?
I saw some comments about it.
So the guy was coming at, I think it was Lancel, coming at him, and Lancel gets the puck off his stick. He goes to protect himself. He probably could have crawled a high cross check, if anything. but he hit him with his gloves and he hit him in the shoulder. And they call, and the announcer's like, "Oh, that's a clear elbow." I'm like, are you watching the same game I am, or the same replay? Because that was not an elbow, not even close to an elbow. It's like, oh, you might need to watch that for a 5-minute game misconduct. I'm like, he didn't elbow him. He hit him up high, but the guy was coming to, hey, protect himself.
It does seem like it's changed quite a bit. Where you say, oh, UNO was a physical team, but maybe that's why they're getting more penalties than others because they're a more physical team
and more aggressive.
I like physicality.
Yeah.
Aggressive play.
Yeah. So, I think in that Denver game, again, they tried to be physical, which wasn't a bad thing. There were some legit penalties, but there were also some really bad penalty calls in that game. And Brian and I happened to be at one of the games on Saturday night, and I just thought they got hosed multiple times. And again, when you look at the power play chances, Denver capitalized. And one thing that UNO isn't great on is the power play. That's one of the worst parts of their game. I don't know who coaches the power play. I don't know who sets them up on the power play, but it's awful. Now, on the flip side, the penalty kill is fantastic. But they also gave up 4 power play goals last week to Denver, which is not usual for UNO. But the series before, North Dakota, again, you go and split North Dakota. Sucks that you get swept by Denver at home, but you did split on the road against them. And then you go and take 4 out of 6 points on the road at St. Cloud prior to playing Minnesota next week.
St. Cloud was first in the conference going in.
Yeah.
So
we got Duluth coming up. I know we got CC coming up.
Duluth's always tough. Even last year, they were a little bit.
And we split with, I believe we split with them so far this year.
Yeah.
We played them at the
I
league.
think it might have been an overtime line.
Yeah.
Course,
Yeah.
like all the others.
Yeah.
But, when you get some points. They're obviously ahead of us in the standings.
Yep, and North Dakota swept Denver, so they're in sole possession. I mean, they were in first place anyways because they swept St. Cloud the week before. So they were already in first place, but they're going to remain in first place. Again, you got good hockey teams in this conference. UNO has every opportunity here at the end of the season to get more momentum, more points going into the next set.
It just goes to show how good the conference is that UNO's the 7th and there's 19th in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I guarantee in the polls will probably be 18 or 19. I mean, they just beat a number 15 team on the road in both games.
Well, was St. Cloud ranked 15 or were they? Because I thought they were 13 in the Carolinas. I figured they were better.
No, I showed 15 on the scoreboard, so on TV. So,
okay.
But again, it's still a really good team. So I don't know. It was a good stretch of 6 games where again you got 6 or 7 points. I wish we got more, but again, you got a lot of upside going in. Hopefully, this gives the team some momentum going into the next few weekends to where they can get some more points and have a good final stretch here before the season's over. Which kind of hard to believe. I think there's maybe 10 or 12 games.
Yeah,
left.
that's what I was just gonna look up.
Yeah, there's maybe 5 series left.
So they've got Duluth at home, then they play at Western.
That's right. And then they come back
And
to
they play
CC.
CC at home, and then they play at Miami. Of course, we don't get Miami at home.
No,
And then
that's
we
right.
finish with North Dakota at home.
Always
So
do.
we
We
need-
always finish with North
We need to
Dakota.
win at least one of those games. I think North Dakota's not too otherwise.
I would love to see Western is kind of having a little bit of a down year, not a really bad year.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of up and down,
Yeah.
but not as good as they have been.
Kind of middle of the road.
CC's definitely up.
Oh yeah, well they have spurts. I mean they have really good games and then they look like they're a young team. But we said this a couple years ago that they were going to be a dangerous team.
Yeah.
They had one of the youngest teams in college hockey, not the NCAA, in college hockey, just a couple years ago, and they were still winning games and looked decent. And we're like, man, and not next year, but the year after that, this team's going to be dangerous.
A couple weeks, month ago, they swept North Dakota at North Dakota.
Yeah.
And they're 2 overtime wins, kind of like we just did in St. Cloud. I mean, that just goes to show you.
Yeah.
The conference is, outside of Miami. The conference top to bottom is pretty good.
Well,
We go on the road to Miami, you got to win those games. I mean, we have to.
And think about St. Cloud. I mean, they were in first place forever with no losses. And
Yeah.
then we play them at home, and we ended up having an overtime win.
We shootout win.
Was it a shootout
It
win?
was a shootout
Okay.
win.
So but either way, they're not going to count. They said, oh, that's their first regulation loss. Well, or their first loss
Their
was
first
when I
loss.
think North Dakota beat them or something. And I'm like, oh, it's their first regulation loss, but technically UNO beat them. So again, we've played St. Cloud State very.
3 wins.
Very-
2 shootout wins, but that just goes to show you that those are hard
Yeah.
games.
Yep, absolutely, and I love it. And you're right, Luke. St. Cloud is not a state. We all. St. Cloud. St. Cloud is not a state.
I've actually played at that arena. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
They had National Select Festival there.
Nice.
But it's Patrick King.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Eddie King.
That was a long time ago. That was like 20 years ago.
But, really, really exciting stuff going on with UNO hockey. Again, if you get a chance to go to the game next weekend, we got Duluth at home. 2 weeks after that, we got CC at home. If you get a chance, Colorado College, I know I'm going to be at least one of those games. I think it's Saturday night game. I'm going to be at that game. So that would be the 17th,
Okay.
I believe.
I got to see what's going on. Because I really wanted to go last weekend, but
Yeah. So, anyways, hopefully we get there. Shout out to Dan as well. Dan, very nice to meet you at the UNO game. Got to meet Dan Bletcher, who's sitting. We ended up finding him at the game and getting a picture with him, talking for a while. So really nice to actually meet. We don't get to meet too many of our followers in person, so that was really cool to get to sit down and or stand up and chat with them over a beer. So very, very nice to meet you, Dan, in person. So appreciate you being a big UNO fan as well, supporter. And your wife and kids there too. So appreciate it.
yeah, that's cool.
All right.
Sorry, I missed it.
Yes, Jimmy should feel sorry you missed it, but I had 4 extra tickets too. He couldn't make it happen, but it was fun. Brian and I had a great time. Had a few good beers and got to hang out. We had a great beer. Yeah, there you go. All right. So I think that's enough about UNO hockey. That was a lot of fun. Again, I enjoy UNO hockey. I enjoy going to the games. I enjoy this team. I'm a big fan of Mike Gabinette and the coaching
Definitely
staff.
more fun when they're good. Standing might not show it, but they're pretty good.
They'll be in the top 20 again this week. They were in before Denver and they got knocked out, but they'll be back in the top 20.
Just wanted to make the tournament this year.
Oh yeah,
Yep, tournament, sneak a win.
and the better they do, they're going to continue to get guys like Zach Erdahl transferring to UNO to get to keep playing. And you played at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's pretty decent hockey
Wisconsin's really
team.
good this year.
So, person want to shoot anything our way, we'd love to answer. Jimmy played. I'm just a huge fan, so.
Been a while.
And my Blues, they kind of actually they get better.
Hey, it's All-Star break. You just get that. When they won the cup, they were last. They were last in the league. And
They were. They're not last in the league right now, but their new coach is really turning them around.
They are on
They're on a
on
tear.
the bubble of
Around the wild card.
yeah,
Yep.
wild card.
Also, heads up, you're going to see some content this next weekend. While me and my brother and my dad, we're going to be in Arizona. We're actually going to the Arizona State hockey game
Where are they
while we're
playing?
there. Arizona State plays Lindenwood.
Lindenwood now.
So we're going to be there. I'll
Arizona
probably get
State's
some
a good
content
one.
there. Arizona State's going to be joining the NCHC next year. They're actually a pretty good team this year. They're in the top
UNO
20.
played down there and played in that tournament and beat UNO in overtime.
Yep.
Another overtime.
Yep, but
twice down there.
Arizona State's a quality team. So I'm excited to actually be there. That's going to be a lot of fun. To get to see the arena, Mullet Arena.
I've been to that arena.
Have you? Men's basketball is
Man,
frustrating.
it
Men's
is,
basketball is
because-
just as frustrating as football.
We're not big basketball fans. But when I get into it, Nebraska's pretty sucks.
Yeah.
And then you watch the next game and you're like, wow, this team's actually pretty good.
Well, no, they beat Purdue, then they go to Iowa, lose to Iowa. They go to Rutgers, lose to Rutgers, and it's like, what the hell? We just lost to 2 teams that really aren't that good.
Then you
They
watch.
looked horrible.
Then they who do they have? But then they beat Northwestern. It was on, up in the pack, and you're like, okay. And it's like, man, you just can't get your footing with this team. So what I said yesterday.
They started off, and again, kind of reverse of what they did when they were at Iowa. They're up 12-2 to start early. And then again, you just, again, it's early in the game, 10-point lead, but still, you got to keep the momentum. They just lost them.
And I know that Gary is out, one of their guys.
It's a huge loss.
But it was a big loss, and I think they're trying to sit him out a few games so that he's ready to go for the final stretch.
Yep.
Excuse me, makes sense because they're in an okay spot right now. I mean, they
Yeah.
had the best start they've had since like late '80s, early '90s, whatever it was.
Got to win them conference
They
games.
need to figure out how to win on the road because that's not really good for a committee that's going to pick their, the NCAA tournament.
Well, in turn,
They can only win at home. Why are you going to put them if they're a bubble team?
yeah, and well, in tourney time, you only play at home.
Yeah, not even conference
Yeah.
tournament time.
You're on the road, so you got to figure out next man up. So yeah, you got Gary out. Well, who's next guy? Who's coming in to help backfill that position? If you don't,
And some of those,
Nebraska didn't have the depth.
I think they have more than they thought, but it's inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes guys are coming off the bench and they're making multiple threes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're coming off the bench and just turning the ball over. That's their own machine.
You mentioned the 3-pointers. Nebraska, I hate to say this, but it's like they're trying to be great.
Yeah, I know.
Great.
And some games, he's just not even there. Maybe he scores like 5 points. Yeah. And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I don't.
What are we doing?
I mean,
Look at us.
that was even after in a win. I mean, that was which game was that? That what's his name scored like 30-something points.
Oh, Mast.
Mast.
Yeah, 38 points at home against
Gosh, who were they playing that night? That was just this
Ohio
week.
State.
Yeah, it was just this week. It was Ohio
Yeah,
State.
Ohio State. That's
That
right.
was the game I was thinking of. Yeah, you watch games like that, and you're like, man, this team, whether they're getting tested or like this guy can go off this night, this guy can go off another night, and it's like, okay.
And the game before, when they lost on the road, my father-in-law, he's texting me. He's like, "Why is Mast even on the team? And why is he bringing the ball up court? Because it's just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
You don't get consistent play from any of the
I
players.
don't know. I don't get it.
Now, I do think what we've seen over the last many years is you've had a team of me guys. They're way more about, hey, I want the ball. I want to shoot. I want you want
I'm the
guys.
guy.
You want guy. Yeah,
I'm the guy.
everyone wanted to be that guy. Now, this team does play more like a team, but they're just not winning as a team on the road.
Yeah. I don't know. It must be something in the head. It's something in the head on the road. I know when I was playing hockey, we when I was in Fairbanks,
Mm-hmm.
we go on the road for a month, and when they say hook up a month, that brought us closer together.
Yeah.
So we won on the road. We get back home and we lose at home. We're like, what are we missing here? Well, we started doing our day before, game day. We would do like we were on the road.
Yeah.
We get together in the morning. We go to eat together. We go mess around together, and then you go nap it out, and then you get the ring.
Nap it out.
Then we start being better.
We go nap it
and then we
out.
start being better at home. So I don't know.
Nap.
Whatever they need to, whatever they're doing, I know you're sleeping in your own bed. Whatever you want to say, they need to figure something out for when they're on the road because they just look like a completely different team.
Yeah.
I understand it's tough to win on the road in college sports and any sport, pro sports, whatever. But it seems like it's a really struggle for a lot of Big Ten teams.
Yeah.
I just at night I'll turn the second TV on and be like, oh, there's a Big Ten game on, and the road teams always lose, or the road teams always lose.
Yeah.
It's like I don't get it. I just watched this team play the other night, and they look pretty good. And they look like crap today.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's what's really interesting about.
I guess I just haven't watched enough basketball, but
Yeah,
I've been getting into it. So
you mentioned the home and road stuff. It's really funny. I can't remember who it was. It was a football team though, and they talked about how we play so much better at home, but early in the season we struggled on the road. So what did they start doing? They end up sleeping in a hotel instead of their dorm room before the game.
yeah,
I mean that's hilarious. But guess what? They started winning. They started winning. because it was that routine of, hey, we're better on the road, so let's start playing like we're on the road when we're actually home. And so just getting into, again, you talk about routines. Athletes are, generally speaking, very
Routine
routine oriented, very systematic, very much. This is how I prepare for a game the week before, the day before, the night before, the morning of, the 3 hours before. They have a routine that they want to stick to. You throw off that routine even
Right.
by a little bit.
Even like Chris break.
Yeah.
Get a couple weeks off. It's like, get out of it.
What's your gym routine? What's your eating routine? Are you eating the same? Are you sleeping the same? Are you going to bed at the same time? Like those types of routines for a lot of athletes are very important to them, because anything can throw them off. And it's just like, oh shit, I didn't have my eggs this morning. It gets it's a head game, and I think that's where, again, maybe that's something Nebraska needs to look into, and Hoiberg needs to look into. What's my team doing at home versus on the road, and how's that different? And what can we do to manage that better?
Well, either way,
Because
they went from something like 47 in the NET rankings
Mhm.
to 62 after that.
Yeah. That's big. I
And
mean,
what's kind of a bummer about that is Maryland's record's not bad, and they are tied with them in the standings. So I don't know why they dropped so significantly.
because they lost, but it was bad.
Well, and if you look at their losses, they're 16 points, 18 points, 22 points.
Yes. I mean, I think they were down by like 19 and a half yesterday.
17.
So like 44 to 20. How do you score like?
27.
Yeah, how do you score 27 points and a half? Like that to me, that's mind-boggling. That 27 points and a half. Like that's awful. Anyways, but and so men's basketball loses, and I was like, oh, maybe women's basketball did a little bit better. They played Iowa. Iowa's a good team, as everyone knows. Caitlin Clark dropped 38 points. So glad she was able to recover from her flop.
Oh, yeah.
The
She really,
previous game.
she really needs some super recovery time.
Man,
That fan ran her over.
so unfortunate that she got the wind knocked out of her. But I'm glad, glad she's okay and was able to still come back and play. But women's basketball's doing fine. I mean, they're okay. Amy Williams is a fantastic coach. They have a lot of really good players on the team. Honestly, I have no idea what their record is. I really don't know where they're at in the standings.
They're usually, I think they're probably pretty close to what they normally are.
Yeah.
I don't know either. So.
Yeah, but I know they had a good win. I think they beat Ohio State on the road just recently too. But women's basketball at Nebraska's playing pretty well. Now men's oh man, we can talk about men's basketball at UNO. Frankie Fiddler,
They might make the tournament.
woo man, they're number one right now in the Summit League.
Yeah, and they beat Denver by like 26 points yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the women's team is doing pretty good too in basketball. So again, UNO. Yeah, we're switching to UNO Sports. Sorry, but man, UNO Sports. Look at what has happened since they've gone D1 and they're now in Summit League. They're getting better recruits, not just, and Frankie Fiddler's a local guy too. He's an Omaha kid, and Fiddler's just lighting it up.
Even baseball.
Baseball's right around the corner, man. I think cool, baby.
Might as well go to some baseball games.
Between UNO going to their new beautiful baseball field, going down to Lincoln as well for some baseball games.
And then the Shopify Schwab for Nebraska Grid, too.
Absolutely. There's just so many fun things coming up. I'm so excited.
I know.
But really, again, UNO basketball's playing great and won the Summit League. I can't remember where the women.
Hopefully they make the tournament. Hopefully Craig makes the tournament. Hopefully Nebraska makes the tournament.
Yeah. It'd be great. Be great for the state, just like volleyball.
I mean, Omaha's hosting the first round, or second round, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And before Nebraska's lost yesterday, they said Nebraska could have been coming to Omaha, and that almost might feel like a home game.
Yeah.
So they, never won a game in the tournament. Only Power 5 team has never won a game in the tournament.
Yes.
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 You're gonna say yes.
Yikes. Yikes.
Probably more.
Just yikes is all I gotta say about that.
Probably more correct there.
And that's I really hope they get over that hump. Again, as much as I really don't care that much about basketball, I really hope they get over the hump. It's good for the state. It's good for the school. For both UNO. It's always good for Creighton when they're in the tournament. It's good for Nebraska too. So hopefully they get over that hump. Really would love to see UNO do some damage here come tournament time. That'd be really fantastic to see them win the Summit, just like volleyball did.
Yeah, be like a 14 or 15 seed and somebody else in the first round.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I mean, over the last few years, really between baseball. Yeah.
And every sport, really.
Yeah, Yeah, well, and being a UNO alum myself, I always love to see my school do well. And so really, really cool to see.
I love when UNO's good.
Yeah.
3 years.
Hell yeah. Cheers. Hell yeah. All right. So wrap up basketball. We got some chances, got some opportunities across the state for basketball.
I mean, Nebraska's got plenty of opportunities to win some games and make the tournament.
We got about 20 minutes left. Football. There's not really a whole lot going on with Nebraska football right now. Our coaches are hitting the recruiting trail. They're really doing a great job. I think we ended up, what they're saying right now is like 23rd class in the nation between addition to transfer portal and recruits coming in.
Right.
Again, I don't know. Again, we're top 25 class again. We have the Polynesian Bowl where if you guys watched that at all, Raiola and Nelson had a couple connections.
Yeah, but
I think Raiola was like 7 of 15 with a TD and interception. Like again, you're playing with players you've never played with before, so it's hard to get in a rhythm. We talk about routines. It's really hard to get in that routine, that rhythm with guys who've never played. But it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch our guys get out there.
Yeah, those guys were clicking a little bit. I did see a cool video of Nelson after the interception. He chased, I don't know if it was Dylan's interception or not.
Mm-hmm.
He chased the guy down like 70 yards and tackled him for the scoring touchdown.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Nelson's going to be a stud. And we also had an offensive lineman, or maybe
Preston, I don't know how to say his last name.
Yeah.
He's from Hawaii.
Yeah, he's from Hawaii. And so he got to play too. So again, it was really cool to watch. I've never watched the Polynesian Bowl before, but I didn't watch until later in the game, and a lot of
Nebraska had a linebacker that was he did. He's from Hawaii.
Okay.
I'm not sure he ever played. I think he might have transferred back to either Hawaii or West Coast.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be fun to go.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go sometime.
Maybe we'll go to Hawaii for the Polynesian Bowl sometime. We just want to go everywhere and watch games. It's what we want to do. But I think again, our coaches are doing a really good job recruiting. But we're going to see a shakeup in the Big Ten this next year. DeBauer goes to Alabama. Nick Saban retires. And he said that Alabama, out of all the schools in the country, D1, that's the only place he would have left Washington for. I'm gonna say BS on that only because the money came calling. Just like kids, the money comes calling for a coach, they're going to jump ship. Alabama or not, it could have been LSU, it could have been South Carolina, it could have been Clemson, it could have been Michigan.
So they had coming in, maybe decommitted or going elsewhere.
I think 3 of them ended up going to Texas.
One, that quarterback went to Ohio State.
Dude. And they're bringing in.
They already have another quarterback in this class that's like a top 10 quarterback.
And they have 2 other quarterbacks.
And they brought in Will Howard.
Yeah. So Will Howard, I don't get it, but maybe Will Howard, he's got a year left. Maybe
he's only got one, I'm pretty sure.
So maybe this freshman's going to, redshirt it and he'll be the starter. I don't know. But here's the thing, Ohio State, and I don't know if you saw in the reports, they paid up to between 3 guys over $10 million. 3 guys. We're going to get into this real quick because it's something we talked about a lot with NIL, with transfer portal. The transfer portal to me is not nearly as detrimental to the game as NIL. Here's my question to you, Jim. Really interested to see your answer on this. How is this sustainable? That's just transfer. That's not even recruits. That's transfer.
Okay, because I was gonna say if it's a recruit that hasn't even played yet, that's insane. That hasn't even.
The quarterback that committed to Alabama, so technically he hasn't even played yet.
Oh, he is one.
But yeah, how do you think Ohio State
I guess
got him?
transfer. I was thinking incoming freshman.
It's probably it's both. I mean,
So
I think they got a lineman. It's a lineman, like a wide receiver, and a quarterback over $10 million.
I just don't know how that works as far as like you have to stay for 4 years. Is that only for 1 year? Is that
It doesn't matter.
the 2 years, 3
Yeah.
years? But either way, I don't think it can be because at some point, the kid's gonna say, "Well, I need $20 million." No one can. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess places could do that, but until it's, I mean, not everybody can win a championship.
Yeah.
Not every team can make a 14 playoff. More teams are going to make a 12, but was it worth it at that point?
Think about story college football because at some point the money's not going to be there. You have $20 million tied up in 4 players or 3 players at your school. How much more millions of dollars are you going to pay
Your other players,
other players and try
those
to win?
players could say, "Well, I could go to this other school and make more than I make here."
And those
All
other
the
schools
money is going to a couple of guys.
in D1 college football is the most profitable sport
What's up?
in the entire country. I just don't think it's sustainable to where it's going to continue to help teams.
Well-
You're not going to continue to be able to put $4 million down for a quarterback who's never stepped foot on the field. What are you paying $4 million for? I'm not even happy about paying $2.5 million to Raiola or
Right,
whatever.
whatever it is.
I'm not happy about it. But like Rule said, if you want a good quarterback nowadays, whether it's an incoming freshman or transfer, you got to put up the dough.
Well,
It's ridiculous.
I think
Say, oh, not anymore.
right.
Which
Yeah,
makes
I mean,
sense.
I get it.
The coach left, so he should get that opportunity.
But it shouldn't be to where you are at a school, say it's, even if it's, I mean, last year, Ernest Hausman played for Nebraska.
Yeah.
Had his best game against Michigan, and then goes to Michigan. I mean, that's whatever. But another scenario would be the top player on North Texas. Don't know anything about North Texas. Don't know any other player. He can just, oh, well, I'm the best wide receiver. So then he gets to go wherever he wants. I mean, I know it's benefited us at times, and it's hurt us at times,
Yep.
which it happens to everybody. But I was talking to somebody the other day. If you're Harbaugh, do you go to the NFL? Obviously, he did. Or do you stay in college? It's almost harder to stay in college because you not only have to recruit new players, you have to continue to recruit your own players because you could be the starting quarterback. They have to.
Is what 11-1?
They have to look ahead. I mean, it's crazy. It's just things that didn't happen 5, 10 years ago.
That's actually a really good point because now you're looking at a ripple effect in college football.
Yeah, what if 5 years from now we're gonna look at?
It's not just the recruits because now the recruits are coming in saying, "Yo, I'm hot shit. Where's my money?"
Mhm.
Oh, you don't want to pay me that? All right, okay, I'm gonna go check out USC. Boom, I'm gonna go check out Clemson. Well, Clemson doesn't care about that. They don't want to pay money. But hey, I'm gonna go check out this school or this
Let's go
school.
to Texas.
It's gonna be a competition of who has the most money, and that's what it's gonna be. You're gonna be buying championships or buying good teams, just like you've seen in MLB. You've seen, I mean, look how much the money the Dodgers are paying for like 3 guys. It's how much money can I spend to bring these players in who we think are the best players in the country. That's what college football is going to turn into, and it is going to absolutely. And I'm saying, we've said it before, it's going to destroy college football, not just
okay, how many years did they have the 4-team playoff? It was like 8, 9.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe 10.
There was only like 17 teams that made it out of like 30 to 40 spots.
Yeah.
It was just only 17 teams because that's just the way it's shrunk down from players going to these schools and then starting to transfer to these schools or whatever. It can only get worse.
And at least that money was like under the table.
I mean, well, yeah.
We all know that. We know that players have been paid for a long time. We're well aware of that. McDonald's bags and all these other things like that's fine. Whatever. Like keep it on the table. Now that this is coming out, how much people are being, it was never millions of dollars. No way.
No.
They haven't even stepped foot on the field. And you're gonna pay you're telling an 18-year-old, I'm gonna pay you $3.5 million to come and play at Ohio State. What do you think? Yes, coach.
Get out of it.
Yeah, in case you have a good point. Like, once you're a junior, is that when NIL is actually a thing?
Well, and that's good. That is a good point. I saw, I don't know who it was. I don't know what school it was. I saw a thing that said it had the payout for somebody for 4 years for NIL.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the money was sophomore and junior year. So they couldn't give them a bunch freshman year.
Yeah.
And then they probably thought they weren't going to stay through senior year. So it was like junior year was, I believe, the most they got.
Okay.
And that was to hopefully keep them for that amount of time. But it was like $200,000 a month that they were getting. Can you imagine getting $200,000 a month when you're 18? That's insane.
I wouldn't know what to do with it.
And that's what the coworker I was talking about, he's like, I wouldn't have made it to my junior year. I would have gotten in way too much trouble. $5,000 a year playing on
And now they got sponsorships. I don't care about kids. Hey, we're gonna have you in some commercials. Awesome. Okay. They weren't even going to accept. They turned down $250 or $500 to be featured in the NCAA football game. Dude, you're in a football game. Why are you turning down any sort of money to be in a football game? They're gonna make it widespread. Everybody gets this amount of money. Nope. Not enough. Are you kidding me? You're in the greatest football game ever known to man before you were even born. This game has been one of the best football games,
one of the best video games
to have ever known. Way better than Madden. Way better. Madden has never even competed with NCAA football in EA Sports.
No.
Never. The only sporting game that I would compare it to is NHL.
Yeah.
The
Or
only
FIFA.
FIFA was pretty badass. Wrestling was pretty badass. But outside of that, you're
Whatever.
like, how cool is that? Like, it is getting out of hand where these players are going to get spoon fed before they even show they can play. You got Arch Manning, who's played one snap in college football, and everyone's still up in arms about him. Guess what? He's going to sit another year. He's not going to play over Quinn Ewers. So
Was he transferred?
no,
Okay.
not yet. He keeps on saying that he's staying in Texas.
Okay.
For my question is, for one, how dumb is that? Because I guarantee people are coming to him like, hey, we're going to pay for you to come play at our university. You're a Manning. We want you to come play here. How dumb is he to stay? But at the same
He
time,
probably doesn't want to look bad. So
no,
I don't know.
maybe he is a kid that actually doesn't care about leaving for
Doesn't
money.
probably really need money, but
Oh, well, no. But still, like, man, it's his money.
yeah.
He'd have to earn it, but now kids don't have to earn it. It's not earning money. You're getting paid to be on the team.
Yeah. And he can go anywhere and play, and then
Good.
have a shot at the NFL.
Right? Maybe because then it's going to cause a rift in your locker room. It's going to cause problems amongst other players on your team. The schools. I mean, you got schools cutting. I know different buckets of money. But you have schools cutting programs, education programs, and then you got football. Hey, we're going to spend $3 million on a new football field or this expansion. We're going to pay $3.5 million for this kid to come play for our school. While you're cutting education programs, so you're putting again different buckets of money, but that on the outside it looks like AAA football, if you will, like AAA baseball, to where these kids have opportunities to get in together. That's what it should be. That's what it should be.
Because
If you're going to keep paying this,
Yeah, not really need to go to that. You got guys busting their ass that are going to those workouts, just trying to sniff the field, trying to sniff special
walk on
teams,
scout teams,
you know.
Well,
And then you see that guy, and you're like, well, he doesn't have to do anything.
look
And he's getting all this money and doing whatever he wants.
look how many players in the NFL who have held out for a better contract.
Yes, exactly.
They don't. Chris Jones for the Chiefs missed what 3 or 4 games
Mhm.
because he wanted a new contract. He wanted more money. How long until college football players start doing this?
That's true.
I'm making all this money. I don't need to
There was,
participate like all these other guys.
gosh, a few years ago, there was 1 or 2 guys sitting out bowl games because they were going to be top draft picks.
Yeah.
And now, look at how many guys are sitting out.
Yeah.
Half the team didn't play
Yep.
for Florida State. I mean, it's, like you said, ripple effect. It's very negative.
But it's also really funny. Like I always find that really funny. Man, you didn't get hurt for 12 or 13 games in the year, and you think you're getting hurt in the bowl game like that?
mean,
You're gonna get hurt in your very last game. Like, just play.
I mean, I know it did happen to a few guys that were supposed to be.
It's just
top 10
rare
picks,
though.
and they get hurt in the bowl game that wasn't for a championship. Yeah, I guess I get that.
Look at Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Bo Nix goes out and friggin' lights it up. He's like, I'm not worried about getting hurt. I want to go play. I came here to play. I'm going to play.
I mean,
People can talk crap about Bo Nix all you want about him not being able to win Auburn, whatever. He's a winner. He went on the field. He won. He set records. He was amazing for an Oregon offense. And people are going to talk down on him. He went out and played his game. He did everything he wanted to do in college. And he said, I have one more game to play. I'm not going to throw it away. It's a bowl game. I want to go. I want to play. Good for him. That's great. You're not going to get that a lot in college football moving forward. I make too much money to play this game. You got guys playing 6, 7, 9 years of football. You got a 9-year player, what is it? Miami. You got a 7 or 8-year guy in Utah, the quarterback. With Cam Rising, is that who it is?
Casey Thompson.
Yeah, Casey Thompson is 7th year. Like, dude, just if you're not going to go pro, what's one more year going to do for you? If you're a 7th year guy, you're probably not starting. More than likely. I mean,
Not a quarterback.
yeah.
Tight end.
So it's like, man, just
9th year. Tight end.
graduate, get your degree, and figure out what you want to do. But I don't know. It's just it is.
A lot of people are college.
Yeah, oh, doctor. It's just going to be interesting. I don't think it's sustainable. I think at some point it's going to bite college football in the ass. It already has. I think it's going to get worse. And at some point, you're going to lose the interest of people our age. I mean, yeah, who's the LSU guy? Just got arrested for underage betting.
Oh yeah, I did see. I don't know who.
He was making up to like 22 to 25 bets a day. And they only found out after he got drafted in the NFL. They found that he created an account when he was still like 17 or 18. He was underage. I mean, again, that's bull, man. That brings
Now it doesn't matter because he's in the NFL and he's going to get paid millions.
But that brings in a whole different problem with betting. What are you doing with all that money? We've already seen Iowa State and other schools get players caught for betting. That's going to go deeper. Yeah. Betting sites are everywhere. Look at all this NFL, all the content you see for NFL. There is bets on Jim Harbaugh going to the NFL. You can place a bet on it. Like everything is a bet. I make bets with my friends over beers, 6-pack, a handle of Jack, whatever. Like I'm not making bets. I'm not putting bets on money because for one, I want to lose my money. It's harder money. But these players aren't even earning their money. They're just throwing money away to bet. So you're going to have now
because they get all this money.
Yeah. So you're going to have kids with gambling problems, alcohol problems. Like again, it's a long road, and I think it's a wrong path. So gentlemen's bet $1. Casey, that's an easy bet. $1 parlay for $1. But no,
15 game parlay for $1.
All right. That's not. I could go down a rabbit hole in college football right now because I freaking love the game, but I just think it's going the wrong way, and it's unfortunate. And again, I would love if Nebraska was able to get where they needed to be, but do I really want a team that's bought or a team that works their ass off to get where they need to be? Ohio State's buying their team. Jim Harbaugh leaves. Sharon Moore is now the new coach, or I think Sharon is it.
Yeah.
Moore's
the guy that
Moore's the new coach.
That cried after the game.
Yeah.
Love you, man. Love the shit out of you.
But here's the thing. Now he has a problem. Because not only he has never recruited like he's going to have to now. 2, sanctions are coming to Michigan, more than likely.
And he's never been a head coach.
He's never been a head coach, which is fine.
That's fine.
I actually don't. And he's probably a hell of a good coordinator. And I think not that he doesn't deserve the chance, but now he's going to have to jump through hoops because Jim Harbaugh packs his bags. What happens if NCAA drops some violations on Michigan? It's a whole Pete Carroll situation, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's
lost scholarships, maybe
bowl ban potentially.
Yeah, that's tough. Tough to dig your way out of.
Yeah, so it's like that's going to be tough. But he's in a tough position. And again, not that I like Michigan, but for a Big Ten, I hope he's successful. You like to see those success stories of. I think anytime you promote from within to a head coach, that's a really good thing. That almost ensures you hold on to a lot of your recruits, especially from an offensive side.
Yeah.
So it could be good for Michigan, but we'll see what happens on the back end if anything happens to them with the whole cheating stuff. If it does, again, who knows?
Probably not.
It might.
We'll see.
So, what else in the Big Ten? Dan Lanning's talking about Oregon coming and running the Big Ten. Lincoln Riley, he's soft like a pillow. I'm not scared about USC. You what?
So I don't know if some of those things are real or not because I've seen those. But.
No, I'm just saying he's soft as a pillow, anyways. But there was something that he came out and said something about Harbaugh leaving because he was coming to the Big Ten. Which I don't think that was real. I think it was satire, but it's still funny. I don't see him saying that. I think he's still a smart guy and a smart coach. I don't think he's the best coach, but I think he still has a lot of weapons. So
we'll see how some of those schools do coming in the Big Ten. It's going to be tough.
You got to play defense.
It's going to be tough. And then I think just playing Big Ten bruiser type of games week after week after week.
14 play drives.
It's not.
Around. It's like we play defense stuff.
Right.
It's the same thing as like Big 12 and Big 10 playing. You have offense, but you don't have a defense. Yeah. And our defense is better than your offense. I mean, look what was up Michigan. Perfect example. Win the championship game.
If you have a good run game, pretty good offense,
and
a really good defense,
where are you going to win, Jim? Where are you going to win?
You're going to win the trenches, bro.
The trenches. It's a game of winning the offensive and the defensive line, and that is where the Big 12 or the Pac-12 schools coming into the Big 10 are going to struggle. Is winning those battles up front, even against Nebraska, who again improved. I think next year we're going to see even more improvement. It's still going to be a struggle, and if our offense improves, we're dangerous. We are a dangerous team.
Yeah.
We have to get that development on the offensive side. So, all right, quick flip. We got about 3 minutes left. NFL. You can see if Lamar Jackson is going to take over. It's going to shine.
Okay.
What do you think? Who's winning the first game?
You know, I'm pretty tired of the Swifties. No, really don't care. But I don't like the Ravens very much.
Does that go back to Ray Lewis?
A little bit?
Okay.
It's not a team that I really like. I don't really hate very many teams. I don't necessarily hate them. I just don't really like them.
Well, your Bucks
They're
got
boring.
Bears.
They're boring. And the Bucks did get beat last week. I think the Chiefs are gonna actually win.
Okay. I got the Ravens. I think that
I'm not
again.
gonna be surprised if the Ravens win. I just don't really care for them very much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Ray Rice.
I don't, and that too. I don't really care who wins that game.
No.
I kind of want the Lions to win the whole thing now.
I would love. We're going to see the Ravens and Niners.
I think so too. It sounds like a boring Super Bowl.
I do think both games are going to be close. I think you would have more. Again, if you're looking at a script, if it's scripted, you're going to look at the Chiefs. You're going to look at the Lions. No doubt. That's a much better story, much better viewership across the country. Actually, maybe not. Chiefs maybe not, because the Chiefs are just there. Maybe people are sick of the Chiefs. Maybe they want to see someone new. So maybe the Ravens and Lions would actually be more viewers.
But if it is scripted, then you're going to get people that probably don't always watch the Super Bowl to watch.
Maybe.
Because, I don't know.
Or if you look at the conspiracy theory of the colors of the Super Bowl logo, then it's 100% the Ravens and the Niners. I think without a doubt. Because like the last 5 years, the logo color. And if you guys watch videos, I saw a video of said it was something on the news and like a big giant cookie and with frosting. The frosting was the Ravens and the Niners for the Super Bowl. Like do they know something we don't know? So
they manipulate this more than we think.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But Casey's gonna be watching the Dominican Republic, so dude, hell yeah, get them pina coladas, my man, and enjoy. Yeah, I'll be. Unfortunately, there's no real sports going on next weekend because NHL's in a break. NFL, there's no games next weekend when I'm in Arizona.
Yeah, but you'll get the Waste Management.
I'll be at the Waste Management for a couple practice rounds.
Yeah, those
which I heard are really big parties, just as much of a party as the regular rounds.
Yeah, it's bigger, I think. Because did you watch?
I know your sister's going.
Did you watch Full Swing on Netflix?
I watched a little bit. I haven't watched a lot.
Oh man, when they did the Waste Management, there was guys taking their shirts off. It was crazy.
Guys, I'm not taking my shirt off.
No, golfers making a putt, taking their shirts off.
In practice round? Right, and maybe I'll bring some golf content. We don't talk about golf, but
I like golf.
I'll bring some golf content. I have no problem with that. I'll take some bids. Should be a fun time. But I don't know. I don't have anything else, Jimmy. This was fun. It's good to be back, and we took a couple weeks off. Feels like it's been longer, but
I know.
we're gonna
We'll be gone
continue.
next week, so we'll see when we
Probably be a couple more weeks, because then we'll have after Duluth at home, then we'll be on the road. At Western. So maybe after Western, maybe we'll get together, talk about Western and Duluth for hockey and see what else.
Figure it out.
Casey, does golf suck because you're not good at it, or you just don't like it? Good question.
All right. Well,
I'm Matt. I'm Jimmy. Thanks again to Backswing Brewing. Appreciate your support, and we'll have more on Omaha Beer Week coming up here soon, and we will have more football, hockey. Oh, we didn't talk about supernovas.
true.
Brian's got season tickets. He went there. He posted a sweet video. Brian. Yeah. We'll do some tailgating. We'll do some videos. It's gonna be a fun time. So again, we'll wrap up again. I'm Matt. I'm Jimmy. We are Travis guys. Y'all enjoy your Sunday. Go watch some football, and we'll be back with you in a couple weeks.
Next time.